Hello and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show on Facebook where we show you one cool thing that we are testing in the PC Mag labs. I'm Sasha Segan, this is Tom Brandt, and as usual we have Social Pete on the con taking your questions and comments about anything having to do with technology, desktops, laptops, cell phones, things happening today. Bring them. Pete will ask us or put some useful links into the comments to answer you. But right now we have a big new product today. What exactly is this, Tom?
This is actually a Dell Precision workstation, all-in-one. It's a 27-inch 4K display on the Precision 5720. And but as you'll also notice, the thing that makes this so big in all senses of the word is that there are 6 speakers right here that essentially turn this into one of the best office speakers systems that you could buy.
Yeah, now let me point out, this is an all-in-one Windows 10 PC, and it weighs 37 pounds. Okay, so this is not meant to be moved. We actually had some minor issues moving it around the office. But what you get for your 37 pounds is kind of this real hybrid, I feel, between the business PC and the multimedia system.
Right, well look at it this way. If your business is creating multimedia, maybe you are a recording artist or something like that, why not buy this, because you're going to have everything in one package, is what Dell is thinking.
Right. So let's talk about one of the most prominent things on this PC here, which are these 6 speakers. And you said these are 6 of 10 speakers in the device, right?
So in your 37-pound system, you get not only these 6 front-firing speakers here, there are also 4 more hidden in the back that point downwards. And each channel, each speaker has a 50-watt digital amplifier. So you can imagine the resulting sound, and we can actually play you a little bit of sample from one of our benchmarks here. I'll just
let's turn it up.
That on, and we're not turning up to full volume, but
yeah. And what we have, we have a lot of bass. It's a really rich sound. It's genuinely room filling, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're not going to have a situation where you're listening to a tinny web video or something like that. This really is a great sound.
So now this is a gaming benchmark that you're showing right now.
Yeah.
How is the gaming performance here? What's the video card? Can this do VR? What is this potentially a gaming all-in-one?
Yes, and yes. Basically, this thing would be perfectly at home in a game development studio if you are testing out your next virtual reality game. This is a perfect machine to do it. It does support virtual reality. It has AMD Radeon Pro graphics, discrete GPU, coupled with a Intel Xeon processor. So those are 2 professional-oriented GPU and CPU, but they are just as powerful as the consumer equivalents, and they can easily run. Well, I shouldn't say easily. They can perfectly run games at full HD. If you want to do a 4K game, you're going to bump into some lower frame rates because the Radeon Pro graphics card isn't quite as good as some of the better ones we've seen from NVIDIA. But in general, yes.
And I know our readers often ask about this. The system isn't exactly upgradable, right? Like, it's an all-in-one, you get what you get?
It is actually upgradable. That's the really surprising thing about this. I mean, like I said before, this has something for everyone. You can actually, we're not going to do it on camera because it took us on to get this set up, but if we were to turn this around, in the back behind where the base connects, which we can't actually show you, is a couple of screws that when you take them off, you can have access to the entire back of the PC. So the easiest things to do would be memory and hard drive replacements, but if you really want to or need to, you can access pretty much any component in the all-in-one, which is very different than one of the competitors, which is the iMac.
I mean, it's different from most all-in-ones in general.
And many other.
Can you replace a graphics card?
I haven't looked at the detail. There's a detailed technical manual that pretty much tells you what components you can replace. I didn't see the graphics card specifically, but it's possible.
Okay.
So let's actually do that right now. You can see here.
Tilting you up.
or tilting, and the reason that they do this is so that you can actually interact with this touch screen. The 4K display is a touch screen, so if you're standing, drawing something like that, that's
Table
what this
mode.
orientation is for.
Yeah, it's table mode.
Yeah.
So how much does this cost as configured, and how is this configured?
Okay, so we mentioned the Xeon processor, we mentioned the Radeon Pro graphics. We have in here for storage, we have two 1 terabyte hard drives configured in a RAID 0 array, which essentially means that the result is a single 2 terabyte hard drive, a virtual 2 terabyte hard drive, along with an additional third SSD of 512 gigabytes for the system files. All that brings us, I believe, to something around 2,500. I'm not sure of the exact dollars and cents. So it's certainly an expensive system. But you can actually get the base model, which has a non-touch screen, for $16.99.
It's a Dell. You can configure it up. You can configure
Yes.
it down. That's kind of what Dell does.
Exactly. There are so many configurations. I mean, you can go crazy with it. And because it's a precision workstation, it's even more configurable than it would be otherwise.
Why don't you set this up right again, and let's take some questions.
Does it run quiet?
Yeah, actually, so right now we have the screen up at 100% brightness so that we can see in the studio. I can't hear any fan noise, but if you run your hand along here, you definitely can feel the exhaust. So yes, I would say it's very quiet.
It is, yeah, it is super quiet from here. I mean, my mic is right next to this computer, and you can't hear anything in the background. If you do, trust me, if you do hear anything in the background, that's just Facebook messing with you. We'll take another question.
Compared to the iMac, which one would you recommend for video editing?
So video editing is going to be fine for either one. It really depends on the software side. It's an age-old question. Are you going to go with Mac OS or Windows 10? I think component-wise, the way that this is configured and the way that you can configure the iMac, they're both going to be, as all-in-ones go, this is as good as you're going to get.
And you're probably going to pay about the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the iMac starts at, I believe. I'm not sure how much the 27-inch starts at, but once you configure it with these options, you're going to get around the $2,000 to $3,000 range for both.
Right, right. So it really comes down to kind of which OS workflow you're more accustomed to.
And the speakers. I mean, if you buy an 27-inch iMac, you're going to get a 5K display, which is slightly better than the 4K on this one, but you're not going to get any speakers. And so if you need those speakers, you're going to have to go buy ones, additionally.
Okay, okay. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about a bit about ports, which is I think one of the few real downsides here.
That is true. Yeah. So basically, what we have on this side is we have the power button and a single USB 3.0 port. On the other side, we have an SD card slot and a second USB 3.0 port, and those are really the only ports that are remotely easily accessible on this whole thing. The rest of them are hidden behind. And we can't show you again because it's too hard to move. They're hidden behind the stand. Thunderbolt 3. If you have a Thunderbolt 3 hard drive, which is great, this thing has two Thunderbolt 3 ports via USB-C. You can't access them easily without crawling behind your desk.
Yeah, I will tell you that plugging and unplugging things because of the position of the screen stand, plugging and unplugging things from this thing is a real pain. I suggest if you do get it, get a Thunderbolt 3 dock.
Right, you could always go with the dock.
Yeah, and if you go with the Thunderbolt 3 dock, that can remain plugged into the device, and then you have the dock probably sitting next to your PC that does all the plugging and unplugging.
Right, I would have liked to see the ports moved where they are on the iMac, which is on the lower right-hand side, so they're easily accessible. The problem with that is you got 10 speakers right there, so there's no way to put the ports there.
Yeah, yeah. So do we have any more questions out there?
What kind of options can you get for this? Is this just one model?
So we're talking about the Precision 5720. As I mentioned, the insides are very configurable. But if you are a consumer and not looking for a business computer, you can also get the physically identical Dell XPS 27, which has the same 4K display, same 10 speakers, and so the computers are basically the same. It's the matter of the components on the inside. And if you are someone who works with ISV applications, ISV is a tech industry term for basically means that they're certified to work a certain way. this supports that, which very few even business desktops do. So we should mention that you are paying a lot of money for these speakers and screen, but you're also getting ISV certification, EEC memory, and those are things that businesses care about.
So when you go from this to the XPS 27, you're going from Xeon to Core i series, right?
Right, exactly.
What's the difference there?
Well, so Xeon processors have more business-friendly remote management capabilities, things like that. I mean, the Core i series does as well, but and you also have EEC memory is the main
Okay,
difference.
so these are like just hardcore enterprise features.
Exactly. EEC memory basically means that it's checking each. It's verifying each memory instruction more closely than a non-EEC would. So if you're trading stocks or running critical scientific experiments, you're going to be more protected.
You may crash, but it won't be a flash crash.
Yeah, something like that.
It looks like we have some more questions out there.
I think you've mentioned this before. What's the total width of the screen?
Okay, so this is a 27-inch display. That's the only display you can order it with. Unlike the 21 on the iMac. The exact dimensions of this is actually, I believe, and I don't have the exact dimensions in front of me, do check the review, I believe it's slightly smaller, like around a little bit less than an inch smaller in all the dimensions than the iMac, which is an amazing feat considering this has 10 speakers.
Yeah, I have to say I'm really feeling this for doing my spreadsheets too. Like I may not be I'm not a big multimedia producer, but I'm a big Excel user.
Yeah.
And just this
Imagine
4K
the rows
here with the Xeon able to do the number crunching, that speaks to me.
Not only that, but what I was able to do is fit 3 Edge browser windows side by side with lots of room to spare. So you can either have a huge spreadsheet, or if you're sitting really close to the display and don't mind that whatever that's going to do to your eyes, you can have multiple. You don't need a second display. You can. It's the 4K has so many pixels that you can easily fit side by side there.
Any more questions out there?
I think we're all set.
Okay, so the full review of this is up, and this is our editor's choice for what category exactly?
Yeah, so this is now our editor's choice for the best business all-in-one. It replaces another Dell, another Optiplex Dell. So, and the other thing too is you do get these. These are optional. The keyboard and mouse are optional, so you can bring your own.
Okay, so we recommend it as a business all-in-one. The full review is up on PCMag.com. 4.5 stars. Let's take one last question.
Is there FreeSync?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Well, okay. So the FreeSync and
Isn't that an
G-Sync
NVIDIA branding?
are right. They're related to NVIDIA and AMD. This one does have the AMD version, which I'm blanking on which goes to which. But,
I think G is NVIDIA, and that means free is AMD, so this one would have the free.
Basically, it's a way of syncing your graphics card with your display so that there's no tearing, and this does support whatever the AMD version of that is.
Okay, great. So thank you very much for watching. This has been One Cool Thing from the PC Mag Labs, and this is a very cool editor's choice thing indeed. We will be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow with another cool thing. Thanks for having us.